The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees. Hi, Bremerton and Kitsap. Welcome to Trash Talk. On this show, we have a chat with a local expert to learn more about waste and waste reduction. My name is Reama, and I'm excited to talk with today's guest. Kitsap Harvest connects urban growers with their surplus produce, with people that struggle with food access. Sounds awesome, right? Here to talk us through their various programs is Ed Seal. Ed, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reama.
I'm glad you're here to talk about Kitsap Harvest.
Me too.
Yeah, so tell us about it. What is it?
So Kitsap Harvest, in the punchline, we're the gleaners. That's the easy way to say it. But
Okay.
we're a all-volunteer 501c3 organization that collects urban produce, and then we take it to our warehouse, we sort it, and then we distribute it out to elder and low-income housing complexes, majority, and then they set it up in a farmer's market style where the residents can just come down and take what they want.
Oh, that's so cool that they set it up in a way that is similar to a farmer's market, that dignity model.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we never really know exactly who eats the food that we donate because we don't keep track of any names. We just distribute it out to these areas. We have about 43 locations across the county that we distribute throughout the year. Certainly during the harvest season, as gleaners, that's when we have the most fruit, so we'll be able to get it out more fruit to more places then. Here during the winter months, we're relying on what we're able to get from food banks or grocery stores, and so it's just the core 18 places that we distribute to every 2 weeks.
Yeah, lots of work still to do, though.
Yes.
Off-season work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we have a team of about 90 to 100 volunteers. Last year, they put in about 2,900 volunteer hours, and that effort was handled about 100,000 pounds of food that was extra. And then 84,000 of that went back out, was distributed back out.
That's incredible.
And so what we do, and then also last year, because it was a great year, the pollinators lined up with the fruit trees, and the weather was nice for the gardeners. And so we were able to harvest right here on the peninsula, Kitsap Peninsula, almost 26,000 pounds of fresh produce. Some people refer to that as hyper-local, so the nutrients haven't all been washed away or anything like that. And then what we do is when we collect that produce, we take it to our warehouse, and then we sort it into 3 tiers. Tier 1 means I can just turn around and give it back to you, and you're like, hey, that's a great apple, Ed, thanks. Tier 2 means it might have some blemish, maybe some insect damage, and we'll work with Kitsap Community Resources to have that processed into applesauce or cider or soups or stuff like that. And then the Tier 3, which really isn't, you can't really make it good for human consumption, we give to livestock farmers.
Okay.
So it all gets consumed, gets eaten by something.
Sure.
And very, very, very little goes into a landfill. I can't say zero because what do you do with a truly rotten onion?
Some does. There is trash. There is some, but that's really incredible. So what's the delineation between Tier 2 and Tier 3? Like, how bad does it before you?
So Tier 3 means it's probably pretty mushy.
Okay.
Has some of the classic brown rot that you just can't salvage, or it has enough bug damage that you can't. There's just no way you can cut out all the bug damage and salvage it.
Sure. So that is incredible. How are you involved?
So I'm involved pretty much across the board, but mostly my passion is with the gleaning. So I love to pick fruit. I ended up starting with Kitsap Harvest because there was a flyer on the county extension desk at the county fair that said, hey, do you like to pick fruit? And I said, I love to pick fruit. Some of my great childhood memories are picking fruit. And so I joined, that was back in 2019, signed up online, took some ladder safety training. Next thing I know, I was out picking apples from these trees. And then 2020, we became a nonprofit in order to take advantage of the Good Samaritan law. And then, so when we became a nonprofit, we had to form a board, and I joined the board, and then haven't looked back since.
That's great. That's great. I knew about Kitsap Harvest, but I didn't know that they were doing this much. You said 100,000 pounds
Yep.
last year. That's really incredible. Grown here.
So the honest answer is we know for sure 26,000 pounds of that was grown here on the Kitsap Peninsula. The rest, there's some non-perishables in there that help us get through the winter months.
Okay.
There is rescue from food banks, which will get it from some other growers in Washington State or some other places where farmers or produce distributors just have extra, and they distribute to food banks. And if the food bank gets 10,000 pounds of apples or 10,000 pounds of onions, then because of our relationship with them, they'll give us a couple hundred pounds that we can then distribute to our clients. So that's not grown right here on the peninsula. But of that 84,000 pounds, over 60,000 of that was fresh produce.
Yeah, that's really incredible because otherwise that would be in the waste stream, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, yep, it would be in the waste stream. And also, almost as importantly, it goes to people who have a need but maybe don't have access for whatever reason. It may there may be a stigma. There may be, hey, if I'm going to go to ride a bus to go to the grocery store, and I have a limited income, am I going to really buy fresh produce and then haul it back to my apartment? No, I'm probably not. I'm going to keep something that's going to stay on the shelf for a while because that's what I can only make that trip once or twice a week, maybe once every other week.
Sure, and bringing it directly to their home, so that's incredible.
Yeah, that really is what distinguishes us from some other gleaning organizations. And there's gleaning organizations all across the country and around the world. There's at least 30 others in the state of Washington.
Okay.
But what distinguishes us mostly is we will distribute it out to the people, the people that need it. They don't have to travel anywhere to get it.
So what's the process like for the gleaning?
So for the gleaning, if you have a fruit tree in your yard, so normally we sit at the farmers markets, both Bremerton and Port Georgia, but and I don't know, hey, do you have a garden? If you have a garden, I say, okay, what are you growing? Just to find out what you're growing, because I'm curious. And then I'll say, okay, do you ever have any extra? Because we really like to deal with the extra. If the person says, well, I just got a small and I eat it all right, I just share with my neighbors, man, that's perfect. That's perfect. But I say, well, I'm like that cliche that, I got extra zucchini and at night I go out and I sneak them on my neighbors' patios. Well, then that's where you could call us. And then we'll take that extra produce. For the fruit trees, if you have a fruit tree in your yard, maybe because you've always had that fruit tree in your yard and now your life circumstances doesn't give you time to pick the fruit, or it's going to harvest 600 pounds of apples, and what can you do with 600 pounds of apples? Then you can go on our website and register your tree, and then we will come out and we'll do a site check, and then we'll check the tree, figure out when it's really going to ripen, how many people we're going to need to pick the fruit, make sure we understand parking and stuff like that, the equipment needed, and then we'll arrange with the homeowner when we're going to come back, and then we'll bring a team of volunteers, and we'll pick all the fruit on the tree that's ready. Some trees, the fruit will mature a little bit later, so we'll have to come back a couple times, but we'll pick the tree clean. We don't take anything off the ground because we don't know what else has been on the ground. And then we take it back to our warehouse and sort it and distribute it. And so the homeowner doesn't have to worry about the mess cleaning up. It's not going in the yard waste bin after week after week after week. It's not generating more pests. You don't have the yellow jackets out in your front yard.
Or just like applesauce sludge everywhere.
Or applesauce sludge,
Yep.
Yep.
I see that in the neighborhood sometimes.
It's really a great, we think it's a great service for the homeowners, but it's also a great service for the people that we donate to.
It's a win all around.
Yeah.
That's great. So what's your warehouse like?
So our warehouse is, we rent a small space from Peninsula Truck Lines out on Auto Center Way. It's just a huge open warehouse. And inside of that we have our sorting area, but then we also have two 24-foot insulated container boxes that last summer we were finally successful in converting to use air conditioners. Using CoolBot technology, we tricked the air conditioner to control at a lower temperature, so it keeps them at a cool 37 degrees.
Okay.
And then we're able to put our apples and pears, which require a certain amount of time in a cold storage before they're actually mature in the soft pear that you want to eat. If you just take a pear when it's ripe off the tree, you're going to eat it like, man, this is not a good pear, Ed.
Ed, I did not know that.
Most people don't. Most people don't. And like, man, Ed, what are you doing? But what you do is you take it and you put that in cold storage, and it depends on the variety. Sometimes it's just a couple days, but there are some varieties that we grow around here that take a month. And so we keep these pears in this cold storage, and then after the month, we take them out, and then we can distribute them. They'll sit on somebody's countertop for a couple days, and then that's that nice, soft, fresh pear that you really want when you take a bite into that pear.
Ed, I eat a lot of food that would probably be headed into the waste stream, but I eat it in our home, and a lot of that is pears because I love pears, and every single time they're hard, and I'm thinking, maybe they're just not ripe yet, and I had no idea.
Yep, no, because they ripen by the calendar, and then it takes that extra time of cold storage. Almost the Asian pears don't, but all of the European varieties they require that extra refrigeration.
Wow, what a hot tip! Thank you. I didn't know I would be learning that today, but I appreciate that.
And so we're able to do that now. And in fact, when I was at the warehouse on Tuesday, they told me we're down to our last 3 crates of apples that are already tier 1 that I could give back out to you, that we gleaned probably early November.
Wow.
And before this year, literally, it's coming in and it's going back out because the warehouse is not air conditioned. It's also not heated, so it's kind of cold in there right now. So it's been a game changer. Having those because we have 2 of them. And we use 6-foot green rolling racks that are 4 tiers high, and we can put about 250 to 300 pounds of fruit on each one. So, but it's not uncommon to go, and I was thinking about when I drove here, there's a house that we gleaned at, it's less than a quarter mile as a crow flies from here. We've gleaned at the last 3 years, and each time we have picked over 500 pounds of Asian pears from that, just 2 trees in their front yard. And so there's a lot of fruit grown here on the peninsula. It's just naturally occurring. When you put your fruit goggles on, every time you turn around, you're going to see another apple tree, pear tree, plum tree, cherry tree. Well, the cherries are hard. Last year was a great year, so we got grapes.
Figs everywhere.
There are figs, but figs are very hard to handle. So we don't normally do many figs.
Okay.
Because it's just very hard for us to physically handle.
Sure. So in the few years that y'all have been doing this, you really have it down, like what is a good option and what you should avoid as far as like your system.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We've been, so 2020 became the nonprofit. We gleaned for a couple years before that. But yes, because it's really the how do we handle it so we can get it back out safely. It's really the catch. If you're a home gardener and you have extra produce that you grow, then you could volunteer to be a neighborhood captain, and you could collect extra produce from your neighbors, and then put out a little box. We'll give you a little box, a little table, a little sign. Normally that's done on a Sunday, and then we're working this year to have somebody come around and pick up from the donation stations, and then we'll take it to the warehouse, and again we'll sort it and distribute. We distribute on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then a little bit on Saturday morning, and so you can do that. Or we have a booth every week at the Bremerton Community Farmers Market. We have a bin at the Port Orchard Farmers Market that you could drop off your produce as a home gardener there, and then also take advantage of the farmers market to support the local farmers there. And then also at the Bremerton Community Co-op downtown, we have a year-round collection station there. So if you ever just want to donate some fresh produce, you can buy it in the grocery store and put it there, and then we'll collect it and then distribute it back out.
Okay. So people are able to drop off the produce that they grow in their neighbors at these places.
Yes.
The farmers market in Bremerton and in Port Orchard and at Kitsap Community Food Co-op.
Yes, and we also have a drop box out in front of our warehouse out on Auto Center Way that they could drop there. We kind of need to know, because we're not there every day, so that it doesn't sit there too long.
So you collect from all these different resources, including especially your gleaning team, and then you bring it to your warehouse, sort it, process it, and then send it out.
Yes.
Wow, that's really great.
Yes.
Wow. When I think that 1/4 of waste is food and 1/3 of food is wasted, organizations like this are really doing the work to reduce that number. Like you said, you rescued like 100,000 pounds last year in one way or another.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, we try. So we started because a group of us would like to pick fruit, but also we saw that fruit going to waste. And so what can we do? There's lots of organizations out there doing great things.
Yep.
This is our little small piece to help our community, to use our community to help our community.
Yeah, for sure. And reducing that travel time for food, that's essential. As you said, so much of it was grown here in Kitsap.
Yeah. You talk about food resiliency. I mean, if there's, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, because I'm 100% convinced that starting like the 3rd week of August through the 1st week of October, we could physically glean at one or more places on the Kitsap Peninsula every day. If we had the volunteers to be able to pick, and then we also had the facility to store. One of the things that we're going to wrestle hard with this year is the processing, because we have all that Tier 2 fruit, but there's no canning facilities or real processing facilities. We work very closely with Kitsap Community Resources with Rachel Beeson down there, and she does amazing things with her 2 or 3 volunteers on her that she has.
Definitely.
But this year, one of our volunteers bought it's a tomato milling machine. It's Italian, but he uses it for making applesauce. We learned about it from a gleaning organization up in Port Townsend, and in 4 hours, he was able to take 100 pounds of Tier 2 apples and turn it into 50 pounds of applesauce, all by himself.
Wow.
So one of the dreams this year is figuring out how we use, either because we use his or because we get funding to buy one of those ourselves, and then we can assemble some volunteers in the right health district has some things to say if we're going to give it back out.
I was wondering about that.
So we have to make sure we meet all the right rules, which is why we use Rachel.
Sure.
Or go through Rachel. We don't use her, we go through her. In order to do it, we can also do it for volunteers. We could also go to some of these sites that we distribute to that have the right kind of kitchen, and have the residents come down and help it, and they can take it home.
Which is just fun. Like, I've been to an event like that a couple times, and honestly, it's just fun. It's just your neighbors, community, gathering around food, and it's probably not a manual, but
no,
there is
not.
something fun about it.
Yep, there is. Yeah, and if you ever done a cider pressing, that's a lot of fun too, and so there's ways to use it, but the key is figuring out. Because we're all volunteers, we got to find the right group of volunteers that hey, I want to really work and help solve the processing portion of this, and we'll welcome you with open arms to take that on.
Just waiting for the right person or persons.
Yeah,
it takes a team.
Yeah, we grow as the volunteers, allow us to.
Sure. So you mentioned how to sign up if you have excess food, like the tree that you need gleaned or something, on the website.
Right.
And how do you sign up if you want to volunteer?
Same way.
Okay.
Same way. On the volunteer, there's a tab for the fruit tree gleaning or the grow row for the gardening. You would go under programs. If you want to volunteer, then you go to the volunteer tab, and then go down there. And I will tell you, in my opinion, it's a little cumbersome. So if you get frustrated, please don't give up. Just send an email to volunteer@kitsapharvest.org, and Maury, our volunteer coordinator, will reach out to you and help talk you through it.
Okay.
Because I just personally believe it's a little cumbersome, but it's the system that we have right now. Maury's working on simplifying it, but that's where we are today.
We work with the tools we have.
Yep.
Yeah, so the website is?
kitsapharvest.org.
Okay.
Very simple.
Yep. Great. Well, any last bits you want to share with the
I guess I would say you're never too young or too old to glean,
I love that.
because we have one of my favorite stories, hopefully I have enough time, is last summer I did a glean at a property that we've done, I led a glean, the property we've done many years, 600 pounds of apples. I know we're going to take 600 pounds of apples. It's going to take two of my Tacoma trucks to get it all off the property. And we had 6 volunteers there. One was a mother with her 2-year-old. One was the best friend of the neighbor who had not met. One was an experienced, I'll say, elderly couple, just like me, that had gleaned with in past. Another one was one that we had, a new gleaner we'd picked up last year, but turns out was a friend of the homeowner, but didn't know it until they're at the apple tree.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's just, sometimes they say magic happens under the apple tree. I firmly believe that. And I mean, I still get a little tingly. It's just a great moment for Kitsap County and the community.
Well, we're really grateful for all of the work that y'all are doing. This is really remarkable. And I hope that you have many successes and an easy road ahead, because we need this kind of work, and I really applaud you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for speaking on the show and sharing everything about Kitsap Harvest.
All right. Thank you for having me.
What an amazing program to help connect people and reduce food waste. Food rescue is vital. Now is the perfect time to connect with Kitsap Harvest. Reach out if you want to ensure all the food you grow gets eaten, or sign up to volunteer for a sorting day. If you want to catch up on past episodes of Trash Talk, you can find them on the BCAT YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, use it again, Bremerton and Kitsap.